Almost all the devices used in our day-to-day life is associated with semiconductors. It is an integral part of our life, used from mobile phone to jumbo jets. Hence, we should at least understand some of the basics of semiconductor physics. In this video, I will try to give some flavor of semiconductor physics by solving some of the basic problems. Hello, I am Subhro. Welcome to Materials Horizons. See you after the intro. Let's start with the first problem. Find the percentage of electrons excited into the conduction band in germanium at 300 Kelvin, where the Eg is given as 0.7 electron volt. So, unlike metals, semiconductor has always band gap. So, that means this is actually valence band which is filled with electrons, and this is conduction band where the electron can move easily. Here electrons cannot move because it is filled. Okay. So, when those electrons are excited from valence band to conduction band, so they can easily move if we apply some electric field. Similarly, those electrons will leave here hole, means absence of electron. So, that is nothing but hole, and here the electrons will easily move, here hole will move in that I mean, if you apply the electric field in this direction, electron will move in this direction and hole will move in this direction, right. So, here no extra states are available between conduction band and valence band, and that is why this is called intrinsic semiconductor. So, before that, before intrinsic semiconductor, we need to know that semiconductor basically, roughly we can say the band gap is varying from 0.3 electron volt to 3 electron volt. Above that it will be insulator, below that it will become metal. I mean, it is close to metal, right. So, now as we have seen in the earlier video that this conduction band and valence band, so Fermi energy is situated in between that. So, almost, that is, if this band gap is Eg, then it will be almost Eg by 2, okay, and Eg by 2, and the probability of electron presence of electron in the conduction band, we learnt it by Fermi-Dirac distribution, and that was 1 plus exponential of E minus Ef by kT. So, this term will become Eg by 2, right. So, by simplification, when we calculate the fraction of electron which can be promoted to the conduction band, in given by n by capital N exponential minus Eg by 2 kT. Okay. So, what is telling in this problem? Before that, let me wipe it out. So, it is telling that this Eg is given by 0.7 electron volt, and K is, we know that I told you to remember in electron volt, and T is absolute temperature is 300 Kelvin given, right. So it is intrinsic semiconductor. So no states are available in between conduction and valence band. So this n by n is given by exponential Eg by 2kT. So exponential, that would be, so this capital N means total number of electron which can be excited or promoted from the valence band to the conduction band. And the small n is the number which has been already promoted. So this will tell us the fraction. Okay. So this Eg is 0.7 and this 2 into k we will write into minus 5 into 300. Okay. So that would be like exponential minus 13.56. So it will be around 1.29 into 10 to the minus 6. So see here, point to be noted. So it is like this. Easily people will say that the option A, but this is wrong, not A, because here they are asking percentage. So we have to multiply it with 100 into 100. So that means 1.29 into 10 to the power minus 4%. So it would be option B. Okay, fine. So let's move to the second problem. So it is almost similar problem in different way. So what they are telling, the temperature at which 50% of the electrons become available for conduction in phosphorus doped silicon. So far we have learned intrinsic semiconductor, but what is happening to the phosphorus doped silicon? Phosphorus doped silicon means we have silicon, we know it is tetravalent, so they are connected like this. Okay. So but when we are adding phosphorus, what will happen? So it will also connected by another silicon here, but it has extra electron because it is pentavalent, and this electron is loosely bound, and that will be easily promoted to the conduction band. I mean, if we show in band diagram, it will be conduction band which is empty, this is valence band which is filled with electrons. So now this loosely bound electron can be denoted as some states near conduction band. Okay. So those electrons, they are carrying electrons, so but they cannot conduct here, but at as they are loosely bound near room temperature, they can easily be promoted to the conduction band. Okay. So those electrons will conduct electricity. So huge number of electrons will be present in the conduction band. So those electrons, those semiconductors are called extrinsic semiconductor, because we are adding something to make it more conducting. So external elements are added here, so that's why this is extrinsic semiconductor, right? So similarly we will use the same formula, so that is n by n exponential. So there we are putting Eg by 2, right, because the Fermi energy was in between, but here the Fermi energy will be shifted upwards, it will be near donor levels. Okay, near donor level, it will donate the electron, that's why this is donor level. So Fermi level is near the donor level. Okay, so in that case we cannot use that Eg by 2, rather we will use, because some amount of energy is required to excite those electrons to the conduction band, and that energy requirement is called the ionization energy, which is given in the problem. So we can directly put that ionization energy. So it can be this formula can be approximated as EI by KT, obviously minus. So this will tell about again fraction of the electrons which is promoted, carriers. This problem can be same for acceptors level. And if we add some levels which act as a acceptor, the valence electron will go there and those holes will conduct. The problem will be same in that case also. However, exponential minus ei in place of ei we will write 0.045 and k similar like the previous one 10 to the minus 5. It would be in electron volt, better to remember, I have already told in the previous video. And the temperature is not told here, but this fraction is given by 0.5 as 50% means 0.5 in fraction. So this should be T, right? So what will happen? So this will be 0.5 equal to, if you calculate this, it will come 523.25 by T. Okay. So this will come 693 equal to minus 523 divided by T, if we take the ln of both sides, right? Then so it would be 755 Kelvin. See the options are in Celsius, so subtract 273, it will come 420 degrees Celsius. It is option B. Option B is the right answer. Okay. Moving on to the next problem. Okay. So antimony has been added to germanium. Again some system is added to another system, host system. So it means again it will extrinsic semiconductor, becomes an extrinsic semiconductor at room temperature. Assumed all antimony are ionized, means all antimony is giving electron. See how it is becoming extrinsic, because antimony is pentavalent, 5 electrons. A germanium is 4 electrons, it has tetravalent, right? So this 1 electron will be loosely bound and that will donate into the conduction band, giving rise n-type behavior. If the electron is dominating, in conduction, that is called n-type semiconductor. If hole is dominating, that is called p-type. So here it is clearly n-type. They are giving options of, so p-type will be not our concern. So maybe option B or D. So next, calculate the electrical conductivity of this material assuming electron and hole mobility. So electron hole mobilities are given. Oh, by the way, I remember in the previous lecture I have told mobility unit is meter square per second, but that should be meter square per volt second. Sorry for that mistake. That should be meter square per volt second. Okay. So here mainly electrons are coming into the system, into the conduction band, because of the presence of antimony. So that would be 10 to the power 22 per meter cube, that is the concentration. What is the mobility? Mobility of electron is given 0.1 meter square per volt second. So as hole is not dominating, so hole mobility is not required in this case, right? So large number of carriers are actually generated compared to intrinsic. So intrinsic carrier concentration in this case is negligible, right? However, we will go in that way, n into mobility into, okay. So what will come? And it just, I am putting the value 1.6 10 to the power minus 19 into 0.1. That would be ohm meter whole inverse, right? So that should come 800 ohm meter whole inverse, right? So what is the answer here? So it would be answer D. So here the point to be noted that mainly electrons are promoted into the conduction band from the impurity band or the states which are in near the conduction band. So those are actually supplying electrons into the conduction band. That's why more number of electrons are available in conduction band and it is n type. So we are not considering about the holes, and as it is not direct transition of electrons from valence band to conduction band, which happens for the intrinsic semiconductor, the holes number of holes are negligible with respect to the extrinsic number of holes are negligible with respect to the presence of electrons in the conduction band. So let's move to the next problem. At room temperature, the electrical conductivity of indium antimonide is 2 × 10⁴ ohm meter inverse, whereas the electron and hole mobilities are like this. Okay, so compute the intrinsic carrier concentration for antimonide at room temperature. See, they are asking for carrier concentration. So we know that if electrons and holes, it is intrinsic, so no defect, Fermi energy is here, EF. So here electrons are generated leaving behind the holes. It has certain mobilities, it has another mobilities, right? So ultimately overall conductivity can be given as N, that is electron concentration per meter cube, into mobility of electron into charge, that is magnitude of electron charge. Similarly, P is the hole concentration into mobility of hole into the magnitude of hole charge, right? So we are taking always the magnitude of charge, right, not the sign. So as we know that the number of electrons here will be equal to the number of holes, because those electrons, the electrons are excited from the valence band to the conduction band, leaving behind the holes in the valence band. No defect states are present, right, because it is intrinsic. So sigma is, so that that is why N equal to P, right. So we can write in place P, we write N. Okay, so what will happen? Sigma equal to N into magnitude E mu E plus mu H. Okay. By the way, their mobility is different, obviously. So what will be N? It is carrier concentration, maybe electron concentration, like that. So yeah, we will put the values. What was sigma? 10 to the power 4, and this will be electron 10 to the power minus 19 plus 0.03. Okay, so this is the equation. So what would be the answer? 1.5 10 to the power 22 per meter cube. Is anything close? Yeah. So this is B will be the right answer. This is the number of carrier concentration. Okay. So let's move to the next problem. If an electron is moving at 60 degree at 100 plane in a cubic crystal, it's a little bit different type of problem. So cubic crystalline lattice parameter of A, the wave number K. So here what we have to get? We have to calculate what is the wave number k. So wave number is, we know, 2 pi by lambda, right? Lambda is the wavelength of electron. Electron has a wave duality, wave and particle duality. So here k is the wave number 2 pi by lambda. So for the critical diffraction condition, we will apply Bragg's law, right? So which is 2d sin theta equal to n lambda. Interplanar spacing, so we will consider it is first order, so n equal to 1, and if we put it in k, so 2 pi by, we will put this lambda, so 2d sin theta, right? So 2 pi 2d, in place of sin theta we will put sin 60 degree, as it was telling 60 degree to 100 plane, right? So what will happen? So this 2 will be cancelled, so pi by d into root 3 by 2. So what will be there? 2 by root 3 into pi by d. So here interplanar spacing means the lattice parameter, so ultimately 2 by root 3 pi by a. See if any answer we have. Yeah, so it would be answer B, 2 by root 3, right? So B is the answer. Here actually due to difference in the potential energy, because of the presence of those atomic cores in the lattice, electron diffraction takes place. Okay, so which actually you could not consider for free electron theory, right? Because their potential was constant throughout the lattice. So that is called actually flat potential, where we considered that the potential of electron throughout the lattice was 0, but actual system that doesn't happen. So as a result, as a difference in potential of electrons, the travelling waves of electrons becomes standing waves, and because of that we find the discontinuity in EK diagram. Suppose what we found in metal free electron system, EK diagram was like this, momentum, energy, but when you apply the potential, it will look like this. So ultimately what will happen here, some breakage we can find, some discontinuity we find. So I am not going into details, but in the first diffraction zone, here diffraction is taking place, so this first zone is called Brillouin zone. So I am not going into further details actually. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope this video will help you to enrich your concepts and problem solving capability. This will be very much helpful for different exams, semester exams, GATE exams, other competitive exams also for various branches. So here basically I have talked about intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor. I might be talking some another materials property in the next video. So don't forget to like, subscribe and share. See you in the next video. Stay safe. Thank you for watching.